Fugu is a fish caught off the Pacific shores of Japan. The fish has held a special significance for me ever since my mother died through eating one. The poison resides in the sexual glands of the fish, inside two fragile bags. When preparing the fish, these bags must be removed with caution, for any clumsiness will result in the poison leaking into the veins. Regrettably, it is not easy to tell whether or not this operation has been carried out successfully. The proof is, as it were, in eating. At the time of my mother's death, I was living in California. My relationship with my parents had become somewhat strained around the period, and consequently, I did not learn of the circumstances surrounding her death until I returned to Tokyo, 2 years later. Apparently, my mother had always refused to eat fugu, but on this particular occasion she had made an exception, having been invited by an old school friend whom she was anxious not to offend. It was my father who supplied me with the details as we drove from the airport to his house in the Kamakura district. When we finally arrived, it was nearing to the end of a sunny autumn day.
Did you eat on the plane?
They gave me a light snack.
You must be hungry. Well, eat as soon as Kikuto arrives.
I'm sorry to hear about the firm.
In fact, the story didn't end there. After the firm collapsed, Watanabe killed himself. He didn't wish to live with the disgrace.
I see.
We were partners for 17 years. A man of principle and honor. I respect him very much.
Will you go on business again?
I am in the retirement. I'm too old to involve myself in new adventures now. Business these days has become so different. Dealing with foreigners, doing things their way. I don't understand how we've come to this. Neither did Watanabe. A fine man, a man of principle.
The tea room looked over the garden. From where I sat I could make out the ancient well, which as a child I had believed haunted. It was just visible now through the thick foliage. The sun had sunk low and much of the garden had fallen into shadow.
I'm glad, in any case, that you have decided to come back. More than a short visit, I hope.
I'm not sure what my plans will be.
I, for one, am prepared to forget the past. Your mother, too, was always ready to welcome you back, upset as she was by your behavior.
I appreciate your sympathy. As I say, I'm not sure what my plans are.
I have come to believe now that there were no evil intentions in your mind. You were swayed by certain influences, like so many others.
Perhaps we should forget it, as you suggest.
As you will. More tea?
Just then a girl's voice came echoing through the house.
At last, Kikuto had alive.
Despite our difference in years, my sister and I had always been close. Seeing me again seemed to make her excessively excited, and for a while she did nothing but giggle nervously. But she calmed down somewhat when my father started to question her about Osaka and her university. She answered him with short, formal replies. She in turn asked me a few questions, but she seemed inhibited by the fear that her questions might lead to awkward topics. After a while, the conversation had become even sparser than prior to Kyuko's arrival. Then my father stood up, saying,
I must attend to the super. Please execute me for being burned down by such matters. Kikuto will look after you.
I have been dying for a smoke for the last half an hour.
Then why didn't you have a smoke? Oh, I see.
Guess what? I have got a boyfriend now.
Oh, yes?
Except I'm wondering what to do. I haven't made up my mind yet.
Quite understandable.
You see, he's making plans to go to America. He wants me to go with him as soon as I finish studying.
I see. And you want to go to America?
If we go, we are going to hitchhike.
Then my eye caught something at the back of the room. At first, I continued eating. Then my hands became still. The others noticed and looked at me. I went on gazing into the darkness past my father's shoulder. Who is that? In that photograph there?
Which photograph?
The lowest one, the old woman in the white kimono.
Your mother. Can't you recognize your own mother?
My mother! I see. You see, it's dark. I can't see it very well.
It was taken shortly before her death.
It was dark. I couldn't see very well. We fell silent again. The sound of locusts came in from the garden. I looked out into the darkness. The well was no longer visible.
What do you think you will do now? Will you stay in Japan for a while?
To be honest, I hadn't thought that far ahead.
If you wish to stay here, I mean here in this house, you would be very welcome. That is, if you don't mind living with an old man.
Thank you. I will have to think about it.
But of course, this house is so dreary now, you will no doubt return to America before long.
Perhaps. I don't know yet.
No doubt you will. Kikutu is due to complete her study next springtime. Perhaps she will want to come here home then. She's a good girl.
Perhaps she will.
Things will improve then.
Yes, I'm sure they will.